Hi, I'm Larry Johnson. I'm a professor at Texas A&M University, and today we're going to talk about the male reproductive system. This is the male reproductive system. Objectives, outline functions, features of the male reproductive system, the testis, the capsule, seminal tubules, interstitium, and the spermatozoon. We want to conduct a histologic examination of the testis, which produce spermatozoa, the male gametes, the excurrent ducts, which transport a mature sperm, accessory glands, whose secretions support the viability of sperm in the male reproductive system. We also want to learn the structures to facilitate the male gonad to produce an endocrine and exocrine secretions, endocrine being testosterone, exocrine being the spermatozoon. We're looking at the spermatozoon, then look about spermatogenesis, how it was produced, support cells in the testis, Sertoli cells and Leydig cells, and talk about hormonal control, epididymal function, and accessory glands is what we will talk about. Now, the function of the male reproductive system is the testis produce both spermatozoa, which is the exocrine secretion, and testosterone and endocrine secretion. The function of male reproductive system are to produce, maintain, transport spermatozoa, the male gametes, and protective fluid, semen, and discharge the spermatozoa containing semen within the female reproductive tract. So that's what it has to do. It has to produce sperm, has sperm mature, as it goes through the epididymis, accessory glands, and ultimately deliver it into the female reproductive system. Here we see the male reproductive system composed of a testis, the epididymis, the ductus deferens. Comes back here, you have seminal vesicles coming into here. There's a prostate, so you got a prostatic gland, and then it goes to the urethra. Here's a vulvourethral gland right in through there that pushes the urine out before ejaculation occurs, and then urethra that goes to the outside. And here the testis, the human testis, you can see where a tunica albuginea or white coat has been reflected back, and you can see the white coat. Inside there's a series of tubes. These are the seminiferous tubules, and there is a capsule that surrounds the testis, as you see here and here, and from that it sends in some septum that subdivides the testis somewhat, not completely. But here you see a seminiferous tubule deflected back, and that runs into the radiotestis tubule as part of the mediastinum area, and then it goes to the various efferent ducts, which then goes to the ductus epididymis, and from there on it goes to the ductus deferens, which ultimately goes into to the prostate and then into the penile urethra. So here we see the epididymis, the tail of the epididymis, ductus deferens, and here's a spermatic cord where nerves, blood vessels attach to the body. If we look at the testis, we see there's a thick capsule here, and here's the seminiferous tubules, and between the seminiferous tubules would be the Leydig cells located into here. So if we look at the human testis, we see the tunica albuginea reflected back, and it is dense irregular connective tissue like all other capsules of the body. And you can see the fibroblasts and the collagen in through there. Also, you can see the lining. The outside lining has a mesothelium. We can see it here on this slide, that slide, and it's also right over here. There's also blood vessels that surround the testis inside the capsule, and they go around to kind of cool the blood. See the arteries, veins, see the valve there. There's also some lymphatics that we can see here and here. Now, the main product of spermatogenesis is the spermatozoon. And here we see the spermatozoa, and this happened to be of a horse. Here's another one here, a scanning EM view of it, the middle piece, the principal piece. And there's mitochondria around the middle piece. You can see those here, and you can see it here. Now, if we look at the spermatozoa, we can see the nucleus, which is the main part, and there's a series of membranes. There's a nuclear membrane, the interauxomal membrane, outer auxomal membrane, than the plasma membrane that circles around the entire sperm. And also, if we look at the spermatozoon, which is one, we can see the middle piece have mitochondria, also have dense fibers, and then it has an axoneme. And the axoneme continues all the way through to the end, where here we see some doublets and singlets, and then you only have singles at the very, very end piece. So you have a system by which you have mitochondria to provide energy. You have a fibrous sheath which is flexible, and you have an axoneme which facilitates the movement of the tail by the dining arms and the doublet sliding with one another. And the spermatozoa is produced in the testis. Here we see the human testis, the seminal tubules therein, and we see the Leydig cells between those. You see the capsule and the septum that's coming up between here. We see the Leydig cells. In the human, the Leydig cells have a rachichryssalid structure. Don't know exactly what it's does, but it's there. And here we see a seminal tubule, which has germ cells of different sizes. The spermatocytes here, and the spermatids over there. Now, in the fetal testis, we just see gonocytes, and the gonocytes give rise to the spermatogonia, which ultimately divide and differentiate to produce spermatozoa. We want to acknowledge the original sources and figures and diagrams that were taken from textbook for this presentation. We want to acknowledge the original source, and then we did that here. This is the end of male reproductive system, objectives, outline, functions, features of the male reproductive system, the testis, and the spermatozoan.